Greetings everybody, how y'all doing? Today we're going to be doing reaction / discussion to that new trailer of that Matrix Resurrection movie that's going to be coming out. And before I get into it, I first must say that I am a huge fan of the Matrix franchise. And I'm surprised they even making a fourth film. A day or two ago, they released a teaser trailer for the trailer that we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so how do I feel about that trailer? Up on my initial reaction, I'm kind of intrigued by it. However, there are kind of like two things that kind of worry me about it. The first thing that I'm worried about is the story and the narrative of this film. But before I get into that, a little bit of a warning. I will be spoiling a good bit of The Matrix Reloaded and also the ending of their last film, Matrix Revolutions. So skip to this timestamp. So, obviously you won't be spoiled. Don't worry, I'm gonna give you some time. Okay, so in The Matrix Reloaded, a lot of things were hinted at with this character known as the Architect, pretty much telling Neo that he's the latest in a long line of people who are considered the One. And Neo, he's actually the sixth. Think Avatar from The Last Airbender, if you ever seen that show. So according to him, he says that the previous cycles of the various versions of the Matrix contain this inevitability of manifesting an individual capable of manipulating things in the Matrix. Pretty much Neo. He came to the conclusion that the Matrix, his creation mind you, was ultimately doomed to fail repeatedly. What's the cause of it? Human beings and their innate ability to be unpredictable at times, and showing the attributes that to machines or programs like himself would probably deem ridiculous, incomprehensible, meaningless, or even just illogical. But when all the events transpired within the Matrix Revolutions, the Matrix got rebooted with a little less green tint, and that's probably why things in this trailer has a little less green and can possibly be the reason behind these seemingly younger versions of these established characters popping up in the trailer. Or maybe they're just essentially new characters. I don't know, I'm just coming up with theories. But I will understand if this was a sequel where there's a new Neo, or that, the one archetype that pretty much take up the mantle that Neo pretty much left behind. Kind of like the history repeats itself, the Architect was pretty much talking on. But there is a huge anomaly that is walking around in this trailer that is quite alarming. And that would be Neo himself. So in the Matrix Revolutions, the character known as the Oracle gives a perfect analogy of what Neo and Agent Smith is to each other by using this mathematical analogy. Now, according to her, Neo and Agent Smith, the antagonist and protagonist of the franchise, are both positive and negative sides of the equation, just trying to balance each other out. Now, if you know a little bit about math, if a positive and a negative number tries to come together and they're like equal number within value, but within their respective modifiers, they will cancel each other out, leaving the result to being a 0. And 0 serves as the number of origins. Before it, negative, after, positive. You follow me, right? So in the end of that movie, that metaphor kind of came to fruition when Neo fused with Agent Smith, pretty much blowing each other up, and both of them seemingly dead. Now, to me, as far as the narrative goes and as far as the writing goes, this symbolically makes sense. So to me, the Matrix Revolutions neatly wrapped everything up in a nice little bow and served as the proper send-off. Things got resolved, so when I saw this trailer, I'm looking at Neo like, why is he alive? Or better yet, why are the agents still a thing? I thought this got resolved. Which leads into the second thing that I'm kind of worried about, and that kind of goes, it kind of goes hand in hand with my first point, and it's just a simple question. Is this sequel necessary? There are sequels that do come out that continue storylines, and depending on how it does, can potentially put a damper on the legacy that it belongs to. Watching this trailer and some of the content that was released on the internet plants the seed in my mind that yes, this movie will harken back to some of the, the old iconic moments of the previous entries, which is cool, but what worries me is the probability that this film just becomes nothing but a pile of rehashed ideas for nostalgic purposes, and not something that has a full-fledged identity of its own. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this movie when it releases. Hopefully some of my concerns will be put to rest, but for now, I'm kind of keeping my expectations steady, not too high, not too low. Just how this trailer was done, for the most part, having a song in the background literally depict the narrative of it within the lyrics, which that's pretty good. I mean, it was good. Sometime back when I first heard that there was a new Matrix movie being worked on, my first thoughts was like, cool, another John Wick with telekinesis is coming out. this should be interesting. And looking at this trailer, I wasn't too far off. However, I feel that the tone of this film is a tad bit different than the previous films. Now, I know this is the first trailer, but it doesn't look like it's too heavy on the jaw-dropping action as the previous entries. But instead, it looks like it's more focused on the narrative of a love story. In regards to that, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's kind of hard to top a film when you are responsible for solidifying the concept of quote-unquote bullet time. I mean, today it's everywhere. It's in movies, video games, and hell, we even got to the point that we can possibly create scenes which was back then groundbreaking. Now we can just do that anytime we want, just using our phones. So apparently Neo in this trailer has forgotten everything, and if you know anything about Matrix lore, then you will understand what these blue pills do and what they are. And man, from the looks of it, yeah, whoever doesn't want this cat to remember anything, yeah man, they gave this dude triple the doses, man. They are drugging this dude up. But the question would be, who is the new threat? Like, who's the antagonist? My guess, I think it's the architect. But that's just me though. Yeah, looking at the trailer, it was pretty nice to see some familiar faces. However, I can't let this reaction go by without, talking about the elephant in the room. Which is obviously, we don't see Morpheus that we know played by Lawrence Fishborne, but instead a younger version seemingly replacing his role, who is played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. And he just got finished doing Candyman. This brother eating. I can only speculate as to why they did this, but it's weird not seeing one of the main people that belongs to the trifecta, that is Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus. I mean, these three literally make up the DNA of the Matrix movies. Hell, I mean, with these three, you literally see them on every cover of every physical release Matrix movie. So to me, that's a noticeable change, but out of speculation, I would think that this has something to do with the storyline of the film as to why that this pretty much happened, because I don't think this happened for no apparent reason, or at least I hope. But seeing the young Morpheus kinda left an idea within my mind just for a brief second, and that thought was pretty much that this movie can actually be a prequel of some sorts to the previous cycle that the architect spoke of. It looks like it's more focused on the narrative of a love story. So there's that. But anyway, y'all, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and until next time, peace.